Welcome to our Form W-4 tutorial video. What I'd really like to do is do a very simplified version on how to fill out Form W-4 to make it very simple. So let's go ahead and start with the personal allowances worksheet on the front page of the Form W-4. And so with item A, if no one else can claim you on your yearly tax return, then you would put a 1 on line A. On item B, you write 1 next to B if any of these are true. If you're single with one job, or you're married with one job and your spouse isn't working, or if you make under $1,500 at your second job, or your spouse makes under $1,500 at their job. Now on C, you put a 1 for your spouse if you're married, and that's if you put that on your personal tax return. Now on line D, you enter the number of dependents that you actually claim on your yearly tax return. So you just kind of take that from your yearly tax return and put it in line D. For line E, if you're filing head of household on your yearly tax return, then you put a 1 for line E. Line F, you put a 1 if you have $2,000 or over of child care or dependent care expenses, and that's also referring back to your yearly tax return. If you claim over $2,000 for child or dependent care expenses on your yearly tax return, then you put a 1 in line F. Line G is probably the most complicated out of all of them. So let's go through it really quickly. If you're single and your income's less than $70,000, or if you're married and your income's less than $100,000, then you enter 2 for each eligible child on line G. So if you have 2 to 4 eligible kids, you actually have to subtract 1 out. So if you had 3 eligible kids, you would have 3 kids times 2 equals 6, minus subtracting the 1 out since you have 2 to 4 kids. So you put 5 in line G if you had 3 eligible kids. Now, if you have 5 or more kids, then you subtract 2. So if you had 5 kids times 2 equals 10, then you subtract out the 2, it'd be 8 for line G if you had 5 kids. Now, line H is very simple. You're just adding A through G and putting it onto line H. Now, at the bottom of the Form W-4, so we're looking at the items 1 and 2 are just your personal information, so you can go ahead and fill those out. So we'll start with line 3. And on line 3, you're just marking if you're single, married, or if you're married but you want to withhold at a higher rate, then you can mark the third item, which is withholding at the higher single rate. For line 5, you're just writing that same amount from line H above, and you're putting it in line 5. For line 6, you're simply, if you want to withhold more taxes from each paycheck, then you're writing the additional amount you want withheld each time. So if you wanted $20 additional withheld each paycheck, then you'd write 20 in line 6. Line 7 is for those of you who are exempt. If you are claiming exempt on your W-4, then you actually have to write the term exempt in the box for line 7. And last, of course, you want to make sure you sign it and date it right there at the bottom. So that was the very simplified version of how to fill out Form W-4. Thank you guys for your time.